Why you finish games you don't like?
Has this ever happened to you? You start playing a new video game from your backlog, and
Mm-hmm.
at first, you're enticed by the idea of playing this game, wondering what adventures will be in store for you and what fun you'll have. But as time goes on, you're not having as much fun as you thought you would. You start to realize
Hmm.
that maybe the game isn't that good,
Dang.
or maybe it just isn't for you. In any case, you're not enjoying yourself. But at this point, you're already
I don't know if I like this has happened to me so few times. Um, I'm trying to think. I don't know. Like maybe this has happened to me in the past. I don't know. I'd have to think more.
a decent chunk of the way through the game. Perhaps you've spent 5 hours, 10 hours, or maybe 30 hours playing it, but you aren't.
Oh Jesus. Yep. When you show this image, I'm just like, and then I go back to my childhood, and there's like a ton of games that I have not finished. I never beat. Like I never beat like the like what was it, like Mario Super, like the original Super Mario Brothers on Game Boy. I never beat that one. I got pretty far, but I never beat it. There was the Sonic, was it Sonic 2 on Sega Genesis? Never beat that one. Um, I would always die on the fucking underwater level, dude. I think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't remember beating that one, but always getting like really far. Yeah, there's a ton of games now.
Having fun anymore. At this point, you have two options. Finish what you've started and stick it out until the end of the game, or abandon it and move on to the next one. Since you've already put some time into this game, you think, I may as well finish it.
Sunken cost fallacy. I'm already too invested, and if I quit now, it is truly a loss.
Even if the experience isn't very fun. So, several hours later, you finish that game. Credits roll, and you can finally tick it off your list. But was it worth playing until the end?
Dang.
You don't feel very happy, because you've just spent some valuable time of your life playing a game that was maybe a 3 out of 5 at best. In this video, I'll be talking about some of my experiences with games that I didn't really want to finish, and why we feel the need to complete things as humans. Recently,
I think there's a little bit of like a completionist in me. It just once I feel like can start a game, or once I start a game, I feel like I need to complete it. Yeah, I don't know.
I think I've played more mid games than usual, you know what I mean? I don't like
Yeah,
to say that, but that's the best way I can think of describing them. Games that are just okay, and don't really stand out. And I'm not just depressed, okay, I've played some incredible games this year as well.
yeah.
Disco Elysium, Hi-Fi Rush, Bloodstained, Rollerdrome. But I want to play more games like that. So in my quest for the next great game, I
Damn.
have to sift through some average ones, like Dying Light
I think I gotta play Rollerdrome.
the following. Now this is technically a DLC to Dying Light, but it's
Bro, I liked Dying Light. I thought it was cool to implement parkour and shooting zombies. I thought that was cool.
super massive and has its own story that I'm counting it as a game. And this isn't a full review of the following, okay? I'm just gonna talk about what I didn't like. Now, I really liked the main game,
I don't remember if I played this little DLC.
and I was excited for a while to play this DLC because I wanted to know how the tale of Kyle Crane continues. The DLC continues from the original Dying Light, except this time you break out of the city into the countryside, and you meet this following, called the Children of the Sun. One of the most glaring problems is that Dying Light to me was always a 50-50 parkour/zombie game.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the things I didn't like about the main game was I didn't think the parkour aspect was strong enough. But this DLC focused even less on the parkour. It's set in the open countryside, which is
Yeah, you can't really. Parkour is a very city thing. You can't really do parkour out here in the fucking plains. Yeah, there's some trees, but whatever. Yeah, you really need like a cityscape to do it. You can't be out here in like the rolling plains of wherever the fuck this is.
literally the worst possible environment they could choose for a parkour game.
Yeah.
And you have the grappling hook now, so the small sections of crafted parkour that they put in the missions can usually be skipped entirely.
Oh,
You
geez.
even get a buggy
With the grappling hook to just like grapple over all the shit. Yeah,
DLC
I get
to
it.
drive around in because free running around the world would take too long. The driving is kind of fun sometimes, but it goes completely against what I thought the game was originally meant to be. It feels like Just Cause 3 was in first person, and also there were
Mm.
zombies. What's more, to progress the main story, you literally have to just do a bunch of side quests for the cult to raise your trust level with them, and that's pretty lame. After just a couple of
Uh-huh.
hours of playing the DLC, I was like, meh, and I left it for about a month or so while I played some new releases. But it stayed in my mind. I knew that I had left it unfinished, incomplete. So I came back to it, and I have beaten it now.
Nice.
Near the end, it did get a bit better and was kind of fun, but the experience was just
Yes, but did you have to go? Like should the game have to go through a bunch of like a bullshit in the beginning to get to the good part? I don't think so. Like the DLC or whatever, like the little side story thing, should just be good at the start, and follow through at the end. It shouldn't be this like long drawn out bullshit of like, oh, we got to drive from point A to point B, build up your trust, then you get to the juicy part. It's like that just feels like lazy game development from the developer standpoint.
just okay. I spent around 10 hours playing this game, and I'm not sure if it was even worth my time. Was it worth it for me to pick it back up, or should I have left it abandoned after I played for a couple of hours? A few days before I finished the
I
following.
mean, that is a good question. Was it worth it? I mean, I don't know. I think that's only like the individual can really assess like if it was worth their time or not. Um, I mean, and if you say that as long as you completed it, it was worth your time. I mean, I've played fucking a ton of games where I've completed them and I was like, meh. I've been like meh on it. Like fucking look at Diablo 4. I got to fucking like level 100 and I was like, okay, I don't want to do anything else. I'm good. I feel like I beat the game. Fantastic.
I completed my playthrough of The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages. I've played
Oh
through
dang.
several of the 2D Zelda games now from the 3DS Virtual Console. Oracle of Ages is especially unique because you can link your game to the completed file from Oracle
Oh, that's actually cool. What was this like one of the first games to implement that type of thing?
of Seasons. You get to keep certain items, and the story will change in certain ways. I
That is
enjoy
so cool.
Seasons, but this game felt a lot more frustrating to me. Some of the puzzles were too obscure, the time travel mechanic was annoying, and
Uh-huh.
halfway through I just started using a walkthrough because I didn't want to waste my time.
Yeah, I had that little era in my life too. What was it? What was the website I used? GameFAQs. GameFAQs was the website I used if I ever got into like a pickle in any game. And there would always be this nice person that made this like huge fucking like multi-page essay on like how to beat every aspect of the game, and like some games I had to follow that shit to a T. Like one game, what was it? Like Resident I tried to play like the remake of like Resident Evil 1, I think. And that game was just so bad to me. I was just like, oh, well, if you don't get this item at the beginning of the game and you don't carry it and like to this one point and you don't have it, it's like you might as well just restart the game. And it's like I already fucking spent like 8 hours into this shit. I'm not doing it again. And it's like Jesus Christ.
I'm bumbling around like a buffoon. I felt like Oracle of Seasons was the superior game. It had a whole cool other realm with this race of Subrosian people, instead of the normal past and present, which we've already seen in 2D Zelda games before. You could also change between 4 seasons, and in general, I just thought that game was more fun. I didn't hate Oracle of Ages, but again, I didn't feel the compulsion to beat it.
Hmm.
I kind of forced myself to, so I could say it was done, and I was closer to reaching my goal of eventually completing every mainline Zelda game. A
Dang.
mission that I set myself a couple of years ago. It did feel
Oh, that's
good
cool.
to tick this entry off the list, but once again, I was left thinking. I just spent 20 hours playing this game, even though overall I didn't like it. So why? These 2
Yeah.
games simply didn't really stand out to me. They didn't make me excited to come back for more, and sometimes I didn't even particularly want to keep playing.
Let's see. I'm trying to think. Like, what would be a good reason? I don't know, but to like prove to myself that I was like a good video game player, if anything. I didn't want to let the game beat me, if anything. I think I kind of had this thing going on with like Doom and Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, playing on like one of the hardest difficulties. And it's like just go up to like, what was it, like Nightmare, and then Ultra Nightmare was 1 life, and I didn't care about fucking doing that shit. Um, I just wanted to beat the game on Nightmare, and it took like some of these bosses are so goddamn hard, dude. On Nightmare, it's crazy, and this was at a time where I was like aim training too, so I was like playing on like some fast sense or some shit, trying to like whip my shit around, doing like 180s and like trying to be precise. And bro, that I wanted to quit so many times playing that game.
But I did. I persevered until the end. And then I went on backlogged and I rated the following a 3 out of 5, and Oracle of Ages a 2.5 stars out of 5. Middle of the road, okay games. And after logging them, I wonder, why did I bother finishing them? If they're just gonna leave a sour taste in my mouth, then what was the point? I knew much earlier into the games that I wasn't really having fun. I could have stopped then. If I had dropped the game, I could have potentially spent that time playing a 5 out of 5 game instead. I could be playing my next favorite game. 20 hours is a long time.
Yeah.
So what am I doing it wasting it on this Zelda game? Well, one reason could be the sunk cost fallacy, the thought that I've already put some time into it, and probably put money into this game. So I may as well keep going, as to not waste it.
Yeah, that would probably be it for me for a lot of games.
But I don't think this was the case for me. One possible cause for this is the Zyganik effect.
What?
I first heard about this psychological theory in Daryl Talks Games' video about clearing his backlog.
Oh, yeah.
So check his video out too, I'll put the link in the description. It's a really good video. I'll explain what the Zyganik effect is, and how it relates to us finishing games. In 1927, a psychological study was published by Bloomer Zyganik, who concluded that humans will remember unfinished tasks much easier than they will remember tasks they have completed. To prove her theory, she...
Yeah, that kind of makes sense, because if I finish a thing, I don't have to worry about finishing it anymore. But if I have an unfinished thing, then that thing is going to take precedence in my head. Like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. I got to do my taxes, I got to do this other thing, I got to go get the laundry, I got to go wash my car and all this other shit. All these things that need to get done, but they're not done yet. And so once they do get done, I can just forget about them.
She got participants to do several tasks. She interrupted one group of participants before they had finished, telling them to move on to the next one. Later, both groups were asked to recall what tasks they had been given earlier. Zyganik found that participants were twice as likely to remember the unfinished task than the completed ones. Her original hypothesis was that having these incomplete tasks causes psychic tension, which makes us more likely to remember it. And once we've completed the task, it can be released from our memory. There are a few applications in real life to this, such as how waiters can remember large orders so long as the order is still in the process of being served, and afterwards promptly forget the order. Another example can be seen in studying. Educators recommend that you take breaks during study sessions, believing that it'll help you memorize a concept if the task is interrupted. So basically, when you start a new game and then stop playing after a couple of hours, you're creating an unfinished task in your brain. It's gonna spur the psychic tension, which compels you to finish the task, and until you finish it, a small section of your brain is gonna be occupied by the thought of that one game that you never quite beat. The game you forgot about a long time ago, or dropped for seemingly no reason and left it for too long to pick up again.
Dang. I did not think about it like that. It's like, sometimes, like, the thing that is the nail in the coffin for me, like, since I, like, bought a computer and started, like, buying games on Steam, is, like, if I have a game installed and it's not finished, then it's, like, then it's there. But if the game isn't installed and I left it unfinished as well, or like if I didn't feel like finishing it and it's just I uninstalled it, then it's no longer there anymore, so I'm not worrying about it. So I don't know. I think if that also plays into like a thing, maybe. At least for me.
It's the same reason why many of us feel the need to fully explore each room in a video game, or search every crevice in an area so we don't miss any loot.
Yeah.
We don't want to leave any task unfinished.
I don't know. Maybe as like I'm getting older, I become like just more task oriented. It's like, because like I'm playing like D&D, or getting into like playing D&D again, and it's like me and my buddies will just like if we go on like a mission or a quest or something, it's like go in the house, get the thing, and come back out. Like some of them will play the game in a way that is very completionist. Like I got to look at every room. I don't want to forget, like, and I don't want to miss any loot or whatever. I don't want to miss any buttons. But me, I'm just like, bro, just go in there. Quit looking around. Go get the thing and come out. What are you doing all this like walking around for? You're gonna trigger some traps. You're gonna trigger some monsters and shit. Just go in there, get the thing, and come out. Well, don't do fucking like all these like 360s around the house and like all this noise. Like just go in and come out.
Imagine a set of 2 unexplored hallways in a video game. You walk down the right hallway, but you get stuck in a cutscene. You'll be left feeling discontent because you feel like the task of exploring has been left incomplete. Even if there was nothing in the left hallway, now you have an itch in your brain that you can't scratch. And that is the Zeigarnik effect in action. But what about when the game is bad? When you're not even sure if you're enjoying your time, like in my case, with Zelda and the following. Surely one would feel no remorse for abandoning a game like that. I think it was another example of the Zeigarnik effect. I felt like it was a task that I had left incomplete. Even though the games themselves were not the best experience, I felt like I had to complete them for a couple of reasons. Firstly, psychologists...
I don't know. As I get older, if I, in my head, deem a mechanic to be so ridiculous, or like if a game is asking you to do like some sort of like crazy reaction time thing, and it doesn't give you like the right instructions. Like if I'm like stuck in a part in a game for like a couple hours, and I can fully say that I gave it my best shot and whatever, and like I looked up online maybe to like how to do the thing, I still can't do it. I'm just like, okay, I tried my damnedest. Okay, this game isn't for me. I just suck.
Perry Buffington stated in regard to the Zeigarnik effect that people tend to remember negative experiences and feelings longer than positive ones. This is probably why I still felt compelled to beat these games, even though I wasn't having too much fun. Because it was a negative experience in my brain, they stuck around in there for a little bit longer. Also, it wasn't just the games themselves that I was leaving unfinished. Both of these games were part of a bigger task, clearing out my backlog. At the time of writing, I have 103 games in my backlog.
Dang.
That is 103 games I own
you got
but
flour.
have not played or completed. By leaving the following unfinished, but not abandoning it, just leaving it kinda dangling in the air, not only am I leaving the task of beating the game incomplete, but I'm also halting my progress on the larger task of emptying out my backlog. So because I now have 2 different unfinished tasks that I've left incomplete, the urge to complete it is even stronger. And for Oracle of Ages, it's one of the mainline Zelda games. I mentioned earlier that I hope to eventually complete all of them. This means that if I didn't finish the game, I could never complete that larger, more substantial task. So yes, I probably could and would have dropped both of these games if they weren't part of a series that I liked.
That's fair.
But I pushed through them both just so I could tick them off their respective list.
I gotta tick it
In the
off.
end, after completing them both, was it worth it for me to finish these games instead of abandoning them? I think in this specific case for me, yes, it was worth it, because I wanted to know how the story ended in Dying Light, and I was willing to stick it out.
Yeah.
And because I want to eventually be able to say I've beaten every mainline Zelda game, I stuck that out as well.
Dang.
Playing these 2 games in close
Bro, I still haven't played any Zelda game.
proximity to each other just made me curious as to why I was playing in the first place, which inspired me to make this video and research why. Maybe you've been in the same situation yourself. In general, if you aren't enjoying a game, then you shouldn't feel any guilt about dropping it.
Oh yeah.
Time is valuable and shouldn't be wasted on something lame that you don't like doing.
Yeah, I learned this a while ago, like many years ago. If you don't like a game, just stop playing it. Period. Don't rationalize why it's good or bad or whatever. Just stop. Take a break. Or maybe just never play it again. Either or.
If you made it to the end of this, then maybe hit the like button. And if you'd like to hear me talk some more about video games, then consider subscribing. Thank you for watching.
Nice. Yeah, I have a couple games in my game library that do that to me. Let me see if I can see the library. There was like one like FPS game, like I forgot what fucking one. Where the fuck was it? What was it? It was like some popular one that was it. No, it wasn't Super Hot. Beat that. I forgot where the fuck it was. No, not Star Wars. Oh, what the fuck was it called? Hiya. The Ori? No, bro. When I see this, I'll be like, oh, I fucking hate this game. It was like one of those like Doom like speedy games. Where the fuck was it? Oh, updates. Okay. I mean, fuck. Where in God's name was it? Okay, whatever. But it was like some Doom like game, and like Turbo Overkill. But Turbo Overkill was good, but this other one. Wait, was it Turbo Overkill? Or no. Was it Turbo Kill? And then there was like Overkill. There was like one of those fucking games, like the movement shooter ones. But there was like one point, and this is like at a point where I'm like aim training too. There's like a fucking angel dude, and he. This is the game mechanic that did it in for me. The dude teleports above your head, out of your field of view, and I didn't even understand this until like an hour or two in, because I'm dying. So he teleports above your head, out of your view, and then he instantly comes down behind you with like an attack, and then sometimes he'll do it again. And like your average like human reaction time is anywhere between like 150 and 200 milliseconds. And if you don't dash at the exact moment, you just eat the hit, and you're about like 2 hits like to death anyway. And while he's doing that, sometimes he'll like shoot shit at you, and you're in a little tiny arena where you can fall off. So I tried multiple days to beat that boss, and I was like, okay, I just suck at this. Okay, I'm done. But yeah, that was one recent one for me. But yeah, I thought this is a good video, and yeah, I want to say more. But that's pretty much it for me. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.